Good evening, everybody. My name is Teacher Tina, and together with my colleagues, Teacher Tidy and Teacher Meadow, we're going to present our project-based learning proposal, building a postcan and a 3D model. First of all, I would like to define these two projects. A postget is a narrative audio file which can be used for any kind of story or explain any topic in particular. While a 3D model is the production and design of any object in a three-dimensional perspective. Following this explication, we're going to assign this project-based learning to a 5 grade, and following the following the next objectives that are applying using the Bloom taxonomy. Our general objective is to stimulate and implement creativity skill for problem solving and thinking. Our specific objectives are analyzing, student must teamwork to organize and brainstorming ideas, evaluating, student will reflect on or propose possible solution, and creating. A student will adapt in meaningful and creating contents. All these objectives are going to be applied on the proposal of our project-based learning. That is going to be explained by my colleagues, teacher Olmedo. So, dear colleagues, you have the word.
Well, the storytelling, well, our activity based on learning using 3D and a podcast are related to the topic, the cycle of water and short history. In both topics, we are going to apply in fifth grade. The first project consists in explain the cycle of water in a podcast recorded by the teacher in which students are going to listen carefully the 7 steps of the cycle of water. At the time, the teacher can show it by a mark out in 3D to more comprehension of the topic after that the teacher are going to make a question and feedback to be sure the student understand that step. And then with the explanation, the students are going to create their own project representation in 3D, the water cycle using different material to design of mock-up in group, and they are going to show their aquatic knowledge. Uh, on the other part, the second project based on learning in a short history in which the teacher is going to present a short history in a podcast and the student should listen carefully to comprehension the history. In this activity of reading comprehensions, we can apply the listen and speaking skill after. When the history finish, each student is going to show the different extent of the history in a 3D project, presenting and explain orally one part of the history that call their attention. They can use a material to make the pop-up of the image in 3D. Also, at the end, the student will explain the part of they choose about the history. Well, as a teacher in the first, we want the student learn how the cycle work process, and they can use their imagination to present the information. And second, the students are going to develop their ability to comprehend the history that they receive and transmitted in a visual project, applying different skills such as language, skill listening, writing and speaking, and soft skill communication, teamwork, decision making, organizational, and hard skills such as presentation and project management skills. That's it.
Okay, now we are going to talk about the assessment. In order to know the different abilities skills that we can evaluate in our students and the primary level, in applying 3D model learning, there are three main categories or indicators that we can evaluate in this activity from the creativity viewpoint. The cognitive category, the affective category, and the metacognitive category. In the way of the cognitive category, this is the aspect of the development of intellectual abilities and skills, such as reasoning or the proposed content, linking elements, making hypotheses, constructions of new meanings, and just other aspect of the way, in the line of the category of the cognitive aspect. In the affective categories with this kind of project, we can look about the attitudes toward the contents of subject matter. And in the line of the metacognitive category, which is defining about one's knowledge concerning one's own cognitive processes of the students, okay? We can look there the overall process under the control, either during or the end of the learning activities. And looking about the activity evaluation of podcasts, in that way as the prior partner says, we can evaluate the aspects of the English language skills, and we can add some aspect like quality, the quality of the podcast, aspect about the sound, the creativity also inside the podcast. Here we can saw some, okay, an example of an example of assessment tool that we consider some items that respond to the objective, the learning objectives that are proposed in the 3 model projects. Okay, as a suggestion, teacher must observe the productivity of the project beyond before any judgment for the assessment in above activities, the above kind of activities. It's important in the application of the users of this kind of project inside the work on the classrooms, because it permits that we can introduce a different kind of learning, model learning in with our students, and not look only the cognitive aspect of the development of the students. It permits evaluate another skills, another attitudes in our students. It permits that they take in account.
Okay, well, that's all. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation, and we hope that you enjoy.